Hello, bienvenidos, colegas. Welcome to our Flex video walkthrough of La Guía, which is a Chicanx Latine student resource guide. I am Adriana Brogger. This is brought to you on behalf of the Chicanx Latine Faculty Task Force of San Joaquin Delta College. I'm a professor of digital media. I'm also a co-chair for CLF, and I'm also a first-generation immigrant and a first-generation college student. And so this work is personally important. It's very important for us to see the experiences of our students, not through a deficit-minded lens, but rather through a cultural, rich, asset-based lens. And we want to support our students. And so it's very, very gratifying to us that you're watching this recording. Ysaura?
Hola, colegas. My name is Ysaura Suarez, and I'm a counselor here at Delta. And as Adriana was mentioning, this is not only an important informational piece that we're sharing with you today, but also personal to many of us on the CLF task force, because many of us identify with our current students today. I myself was a Delta College transfer student. Second generation immigrant family. So to me, this is super important. And also for me, while coming to Delta, it was so important for me to see others that look like me, and that helped me feel like I belonged. And so I think one of our biggest missions through CLF and La Guía is really to connect our students to our campus and let them know that we're here and that they belong.
That's right. You can see that reflected in some of these images here, moments of celebration and our students' faces as they go through either completion or celebrating the Chicanx Latine heritage experiences here on campus.
And I want to highlight and mention, make you aware that La Guía is available in multiple modalities. So students are able to access this through a PDF. Also, we have printed versions of La Guía. And then our most recommended is our dynamic digital option, just because information is forever changing and quickly changing. And so the information you're going to see today is what's current as of right now, but we do work on this regularly to update it, add new information, new resources, and change contact information. So we encourage you to visit our digital dynamic version, and we'll talk about that a little later as well. One, because it's important to note that as a Hispanic serving institution, Chicanx Latine students make up nearly more than 50% of our current student body. And so one of our main missions and as an institution is to retain and ensure the success of our students. And many of our Chicanx Latine students will persist if they are able to establish community and are able to feel connected to the campus. And so what exactly is La Guía? It's a bridge for students to connect to the resources and support available to them throughout our campus. And it's also highlighting and demonstrating culturally affirming, bilingual, accessible information for them as well. So again, it's just an opportunity for La Guía to bridge all the resources and the students and help them connect.
And on this page, this is a page that would be available in any of the versions of La Guía that our students would receive. This is an English-Spanish bilingual message of bienvenida or a welcome. It is really to let our students know that we were once in their shoes. And you heard Ysaura speak to this at the beginning when we talked about the fact that many members of CLF, we were once students at Delta College specifically. I was also a Delta College student who then transferred to a CSU. Many of us have that pathway. And it's so critical for our students to hear that, because they see us and they see us today as counselors, faculty, staff, and they imagine that we were always that. And so they need to hear our stories and they need to know that we're here to support them. We say here, consider us your academic madrinas y padrinos, here to cheer you on towards the finish line. And that's to use cultural language that might be meaningful to some of our students, to let them know that we'd like them to see us. We invite them to see us as more than just faculty or staff, but really let them know that we're here to support them to the finish line. And again, it is in Spanish. We say, lo logramos y sabemos que usted también puede. It's so important for them to know that we are here for them in English, Spanish, and Spanglish, all of it.
So our mission and vision. So La Guía is an opportunity that we have to connect students and also not only connect them to the resources, but understand the commitment that San Joaquin Delta College has to them as our students. And our campus is connected and committed to equity and really ensuring student success. And so part of our mission as CLF is to establish that connection and identify that for students so that they know our commitment, not only as faculty and staff, but also as an institution as a whole. So our aim is to really bridge students to the bigger mission of higher education and see them through from start to finish. So with that being said, one of the important aspects is really connecting students to spaces throughout campus and just, again, making them aware that there are many services and spaces available and accessible to them to help them feel comfortable, as well as just connect them to resources and services that they may need. Our La Raza Center is one of our newest spaces on campus where students have the opportunity to attend workshops, have a study space, and just a hangout space where they could just go and gather and just feel comfortable calling it their own. We have our Dreamer Success Center where students can obtain services. It's a safe space for students to really share some of their concerns and really gain support, specifically legal support for some of the situations that our students may be encountering as undocumented students or mixed family status. So again, just throughout the Guía, we are just identifying these spaces and naming the locations. And so you can see here to the right of the screen where students can learn more. They can email or they can click. Obviously, if this is a hard copy, they're not going to be able to click. But in this version, students would be able to click and go directly to a campus map to identify where is the Campesino Forum, where is the Dolores Huerta Plaza, where we host many, many different activities and events throughout the academic year. So students are able to identify not only the services, but also where are these spaces located and who can I contact if I want to go to the Dreamer Success Center. So an opportunity for students to know without visiting the campus, where could they go if they were on campus?
And that's right. That's because, as we know, representation and culturally relevant support make a difference. And so here on this page, our students can take a look and they can see some of the faculty and staff groups that are working to advance our lens. And the Chicanx Latine Faculty Task Force, clearly now you see the logo behind myself, you see the logo behind Ysaura, and you can see the logo here. We hope that it's through that visual representation of seeing this image that our students will see the CLF logo created by our professor of art and drawing, painting and drawing, Mario Moreno, and they'll see that CLF means that those are faculty specifically working because they are interested in advancing the Chicanx Latine voice on campus. So we're here to advocate for those students. We also want to let them know that we welcome their participation in CLF. Then we have La Raza Employees Association, and this truly is an incredible organization that does so much work. They have historically done so much work on our campus. some of the key elements that they do is fundraising throughout the year because they give student scholarships. And every May, they also recognize our students with a very special La Raza graduation ceremony. And it is a beautiful celebration that embraces culture, heritage. It's a roots and wings kind of celebration, and it's an honor to be part of it. We want our students to know that we are working on behalf of them on their side. And so elevating this is important to us. Then the latest is the SPARK Committee. This is Student Protection, Advocacy, Resources, and Knowledge. And this is a committee made up of members across our constituent groups as faculty, staff, and administration. Really, this is focusing on urgent and proactive action to identify and advocate for the needs of our vulnerable students. And this can include our dreamers, immigrant, refugee, mixed status, LGBTQIA plus, and more students. And so here's another logo, another one also created by Professor Moreno, that we want our students to see and to recognize as another space for advocacy, should they see this across campus or in offices and learning centers.
So resources, these are just highlighting some of the most frequently used and needed resources from our students, how to connect with our financial aid office, how to obtain free legal services. There's QR codes that will connect them directly to the pages and the information that they're seeking, our student food pantry. And we highlight this because we want students to feel comfortable to access this information, because many of our students won't mention or come out and say right away that they need assistance with financial aid, or they have some legal questions, or maybe they need help getting a meal on the table. And so we want to just give students the opportunity to access this in their own space and just know directly, again, some of the key resources available to them to help eliminate some of the barriers and challenges that they may face while trying to obtain their education. And so, again, it's really important just to lend out this guide so that students have an idea where to go to or become familiar, right? Bring awareness, because part of our goal is also to teach students to self-advocate for themselves. Now, we do also, in addition to our services and resources, we also highlight some of the opportunities that students have through their coursework. Students may want to enrich their knowledge or learn more about their heritage, or may not even be aware that there's classes specifically designed with a Latin emphasis, or giving context to historical experiences up until modern times. And so there's a lot of opportunities through our programs and classes available to students here at Delta College. And just to highlight a few, students have the opportunity to obtain a transfer degree in Spanish. So students that are seeking to transfer to a CSU and major in Spanish can complete a transfer degree. Students are able to take Mexican American history, and these courses many times will fulfill not only general education requirements, but also degree requirements. In addition, will also allow them the opportunity to take elective courses specifically in their area of interest, or just connect more to their culture. So a lot of times students having this information available really makes them excited, because also keeping in mind, many times students that obtain La Guía are being handed La Guía by a CLF faculty member. And so now they know, right? They know Adriana, they know myself. And so seeing that we teach classes makes them feel more comfortable to say, you know what, I would love to take that class because now I know that professor. It's not as intimidating for students. So again, just highlighting some of the courses that do provide that cultural context for them, and opportunity to learn more about the Latin experience. Just again, an ongoing list of the many different areas that we are teaching courses, and invite students to participate and enroll in our classes. And I do want to highlight our honors program. So students that want to challenge themselves academically have the opportunity to participate in our honors program. So again, just making you aware of the additional the coursework that's available for students if they're looking for this type of experience.
And now we get to our student clubs. And it's important to note that these are offered through our ASDC, our Associated Students of Delta College. And because of this, we are not sure what every club's current status is from semester to semester. More than anything in La Guía, we really wanted our students to understand that we are elevating the lens of our Chicanx students. And so if there is a student who comes to you and says, just mentions that they are pursuing something in the medical field, perhaps you can talk to them about the Latino Medical Student Association and ask if they've looked into that. But if you hand this to a student and they are interested in engineering and they see that there's a club for that, specifically for a Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, that can be an exciting thing that can really fuel that experience for the student. And then the I Am Yo Soy collective is a great collective, really doing a lot of work rooted in advocacy. And so please do share this and be aware of what these resources are so that you can have those conversations with students. And just by handing them La Guía, we never know who we're connecting to something that can really change the trajectory of their life, just with that campus enrichment and that campus life component.
Learning communities. So as many of you know, not every single student sees a counselor, right? So to me, talking about MESA, talking about Puente, DART, these are things that will come up in my counseling sessions. But as we all know, sometimes students don't meet with the counselor right away as they start their journey at Delta College. And who's their number one resource? It's you in the classroom. They come to you, ask you questions and say, hey, how can I get help? I'm a STEM major, or, I want to transfer. Is there any help? So we're hoping to highlight these programs. These three programs are some of the most often referred to programs for students. And so if you come across a student that is a STEM major that really needs support, please send them to the MESA program. If you meet a student in your class that is transfer bound, send them to the Puente program, refer them to Daniel. He would be more than happy to talk to them. Puente is a cohort model and starts every fall. The DART program for adult learners, maybe they're coming back, they're ready to start a career, obtain higher education, to send them to the DART program. This is, again, another opportunity for students to gain a structured support, right? This is really, really important because this is wraparound services. These programs provide wraparound services and are very high touch and very intentional with the coursework that students are taking, with the process of even becoming a part of this programs is very intentional and starts establishing that connection to campus and to that additional academic support that these specific populations would need. So we encourage you, refer them to these programs and just highlight it as soon as you encounter a student that you think, hey, you know what, the student may benefit from Puente. Let me have them reach out to Daniel. Or you know what, this student would definitely benefit from the support of MESA. So again, this is just an example of some of the learning communities that we have on campus that we frequently refer our Latinese students to.
And there are so many more resources. Some of them that advance our lens even more are Latinx History Month. There are various events from really a beautiful flag parade that kicks off September 15th to other ongoing events such as guest speakers. We have different presentations, films. This is hosted every year from September 15th to October 15th, which is National Latinx History Month. And on campus, we every year curate a variety of programming. Please visit the QR code to get more information. Delta College Radio is 93.5 KWDC.FM. And obviously, I am biased because I do run this program, but I love showcasing the fact that we have English, Spanish, Spanglish language programming. And so we say music, news, sports, farándula, and more, y mucho, mucho más. So if you have students who express an interest to perhaps take a project that they created in a class, perhaps it's poetry, maybe it's a research paper, and they are interested in what that might be experienced like for our campus community, acoustically through audio, obviously on KWDC, please do reach out. And then obviously basic needs is so critical to all of our students. We know that Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not just a theory, but a real life true story, and that we cannot expect our students to show up in our classes and be successful if they are worried about food, if they're worried about housing. And so we have a basic needs center on campus. And this QR code will link students up to the basic needs form on the other end of this QR code, where students can complete the form, and then someone from the Basic Needs Center will do an intake and connect them to the resources that they need. And again, La Guía, it's all about, instead of just telling a student about it, about that warm handoff, about letting them know, we've got Jaime over there. We've got people, we've got Miss Patty. You have just a whole team of people who are willing to support our students. And the more that we can get to know who these people are and connect some of those dots for our students, the more that they're really going to access this, because we know that it's not that we don't have resources on our campus. We have a plethora of resources, but unfortunately, sometimes through those gaps, or just miscommunication, or we send people over, and how powerful is it to give them a form that actually connects them, and then follow that up with a conversation, or walking them over even more. So again, just rooted in really trying to guide our students with La Guía.
So scholarships, there are scholarship opportunities through the Dolores Huerta Scholarship, and of course our La Raza Employees Association that fundraises all year to provide students with scholarships. We ask that you encourage and empower our students to apply for scholarships, to start preparing early. Just even if you mention in your classes, hey, by the way, if you're wanting me to write a letter of recommendation, these are the things that I'm going to need from you. And really encouraging them, most importantly, to establish a connection and a rapport with you, so that they're not just somebody in a seat, but really engaging in the class, and just providing them with those opportunities, and making them aware that there are scholarship opportunities. I always like to tell students, this is a good way to earn, to get paid for what you're doing, right? Which is being a student. It's an incentive, and it's an opportunity for you to help yourself, purchase those books, or help you transfer or live off campus, right? So many different things that come to mind that students need help with and resources, but it's just providing them that encouragement and those tips to just make them aware that there's scholarships and the things that they need to do in order to obtain a letter of recommendation from you as a faculty member. So again, we invite you to just provide these tips and make them aware of how can they get a good letter of recommendation from you.
That's right. It's so important to acknowledge that our students, as first, second, third generation students, are not even always able to understand what letter of recommendation means. So while we in academia may throw that kind of language around, what does it actually mean to our students? So stopping and taking a moment to share that can make all the difference for them. And this is where we want them to be. We want to celebrate them. We want them to know que sí se puede. And here our message to our students is, we're so glad to see you on campus. We want them to stop by the spaces and the learning centers that we've mentioned here. We want them to come say hello. We want them to know that we want to support them thriving, not only at Delta College, but as they transfer, as they land the job that they were seeking, as they advance in their careers. Whatever their goal was that brought them to Delta College, we want to see them through to completion. And so here, again, is an English-Spanish bilingual message and some images. We have our president, Lisa Aguilera Lawrenson, our first Latina president of our college. We love saying that out loud. We love reminding our students that our leadership on our campus is our first Latina president. And here she is shaking hands with a student at La Raza graduation. You have our student Christopher here with his parents as he was receiving an award. He took home 3 awards, 2 first place for student films that he produced for our Fierce Mustang Media Film Festival. And then here we have a number of members of CLF as we were tabling to provide students with resources, with posters, with red cards in the current political climate. We wanted them to know that in California, education for all means education for all, and we want our students to get that message.
So in addition to,
And more photos because we believe that sharing with our words and then showing with our eyes so that we can experience this in a multi-sensory, multifactorial experience is really critical. We want our students to see that we're about these celebrations. We understand the hard work is the work of all of us, right? That we expect them to show up in class, but we also expect to show up to them in these conversations with resources and with a listening ear so that we can cheer them on to the finish line. And these images represent some of those moments that we're so excited about and to replicate again this next academic year. And then that would be the end of La Guía, but we are not done with this presentation. So Ysaura is going to tell you about the next few pages.
We have a few more pieces that we're excited to present to you today. These are new additions to La Guía. This flyer that you're seeing on the left-hand side is a double-sided flyer that really explains, one, who is CLF, right? Students are able to obtain this flyer, look at it, and really have a better understanding of what does CLF stand for, what is this task force all about, and really just highlighting our intentions and our purpose as a faculty task force group. And in the flyer, we highlight some of these key areas that are mentioned throughout La Guía, the Dreamer Center, the Puente Program, La Raza Employees Association. And so students have the opportunity with this flyer to either access La Guía digitally, right? So they could use the QR code on the bottom right. And also new this year that we're implementing is our intake form. Students are able to connect with CLF faculty and just ask for help, just ask for resources or say, hey, by the way, I need more information on X, Y, and Z. And so we list pretty much almost everything that students can find on our campus. And students are able to say, I want more information or I need help with this. And so then this intake form connects them to our email and we will respond to the student, doing that warm handoff. As many of you all know, it's really about who did I meet? Who do I connect with? Word of mouth, right? Our students really, really go by word of mouth. And so our aim through this intake form is really to provide that warm handoff and saying, hey, we are here and this is your next step. And so hopefully this is an opportunity that students will take advantage of. And the intention is just connection. That's really just, hey, we're here to help you and we're going to connect you. Just one more resource for students here on campus. So again, we're excited to present this to you all. And this will be at our table and at events. We'll be handing this out to students. And last but not least, as we were mentioning in our courses, I'm really excited to announce that this year, we have launched our first year experience for Latine, Chicanx Latine students. We had our first counseling courses this summer that were very successful. And then we will be teaching 2 sections in the fall, and students will have opportunity to do Part A in the fall and Part B in the spring. And so our aim through this is really to lend that first year experience. Who is this ideal for? For students that maybe weren't able to commit to the Puente program or didn't know about the Puente program because they're already full, but really want that connection, that cultural context and support. And so through this class, what we're really doing is helping students establish themselves as students, but really connecting with them at a level where we understand the language, we understand, and can I relate to them at a deeper level culturally as well. And so this is a great opportunity. We're really, really excited. So moving forward, students will have the opportunity to participate. It's not a cohort model, so students, if they weren't able to take Counseling 1A this fall, they can definitely still participate in Counseling 1B, which will be offered in the spring. With that being said, this will conclude our presentation and really just our message of connecting with students and just highlighting the resources that CLF has gathered for students so that they can stay connected and feel supported through their academic journey at Delta College.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.